is filtered, moistened, and warmed by structures in the respiratory mucosa. Coarse hairs filter out large dust particles. Seromucous glands secrete antimicrobial substances and mucus that traps and moistens the air. Blood flowing through capillaries in the mucosa warms the air. The filtered, moistened, and warmed air then continues toward the trachea.
Pulmonary ventilation, or breathing, is induced by changes in the volume of the lungs and the air pressure within them. During normal inhalation, the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles contract and the ribcage elevates. As the volume of the lungs increases, air pressure in the lungs drops below atmospheric pressure and air rushes in. During normal exhalation, the muscles relax, the lungs become smaller, pressure inside them rises, and air is expelled. Boyle's law explains this relationship between volume and air pressure. An increase in the volume of a container lowers the pressure of the air inside. A decrease in the volume raises pressure in the reduced space. The body's demand for more oxygen can change normal breathing to forced breathing. Additional muscles increase the changes in volume of the thoracic cavity so that more air can pass in and out more rapidly. Respiration is an involuntary function. Nerve impulses transmitted by the pons and the medulla oblongata to respiratory muscles regulate the respiratory rate. The rate of normal breathing is 12 to 15 breaths per minute. The body adjusts the rate and depth of normal breathing in response to metabolic needs. When the body uses more oxygen or holds too much carbon dioxide, sensors in the circulatory system, called chemoreceptors, send signals to the brain. The rate and depth of ventilation or breathing increases so that more gas can be exchanged. Involuntary breathing mechanisms can be overridden by the cerebral cortex. Actions, including talking, sneezing, and coughing, can also alter breathing patterns for short periods of time. Occurs in the lungs as oxygen diffuses from alveoli into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide diffuses from the bloodstream into the alveoli. Dalton's law explains that in a gas mixture, the pressure exerted by each gas is independent. The gas mixture in the alveolus has a high oxygen partial pressure, while the partial pressure of oxygen in the surrounding pulmonary capillaries is low. For this reason, the oxygen diffuses from the alveolus into the pulmonary capillary. Carbon dioxide diffuses out of the capillary and into alveoli for the same reason.
In the lungs, oxygen from the air is exchanged for waste carbon dioxide from the bloodstream. This process of external respiration takes place in hundreds of millions of microscopic sacs called alveoli. Oxygen from inhaled air diffuses from the alveoli into the pulmonary capillaries surrounding them and is pumped through the bloodstream. Carbon dioxide from oxygen-depleted blood diffuses from the capillaries into the alveoli and is expelled through exhalation. Delivers oxygen to cells and removes waste carbon dioxide through a process called internal respiration. In the lungs, oxygen is absorbed into the erythrocytes in the bloodstream. These cells, commonly called red blood cells, contain gas-transporting molecules called hemoglobin. Oxygen binds to these molecules. The oxygenated blood then moves through the vasculature. At the narrow capillaries within body tissues, red blood cells release oxygen, which then diffuses through the capillary wall into tissues. Meanwhile, the waste product carbon dioxide diffuses into the bloodstream, where it is carried inside red blood cells and in plasma. The deoxygenated blood travels through the vasculature and back to the lungs, where carbon dioxide is expelled from the body.